What's up, guys? CJ1 Kid 1231 back again, and so the past 3 days I've talked about different subjects, and today being Wednesday, I really didn't have anything in particular I wanted to talk about, but the idea of doing an album review came to mind, and I figured since I started it off with a Tribe Called Quest review with the Love Movement, I might as well just try to go through the whole discography at some point in time. So I'm gonna just start straight from the beginning. 1999, the release of People's Instinctive Travels and Paths of Rhythms. Yeah, I know it's a mouthful, right? Well, this album came right off the back of Jungle Brothers album, Straight Up Jungle, in 1988. The De La Soul, which they had, what was it again? 3 Feet High and Rising, 89. And then, of course, Tribe Called Quest, the album we're reviewing today. That was all part of the whole native tongue movement, the whole movement where it was about being you, being yourself, and okay, being weird and normal at a time where hip-hop was like boisterous and all about, I'm tough, I'm this, I'm that, and all that stuff. So another interesting thing to note too is that this album, I think, is the first album, not the earliest album, but the very first album to get 5 mics from the source. Now, if you don't know what 5 mics in the source means, it was a rating system back in the day when Source was considered very, very credible. In other words, like they were like the Bible of hip hop. If you got 5 mics in the source, you were solidified. It was a stamp of approval to like hip hoppers everywhere, and it basically meant that it's a straight up classic. That's what 5 mics really means. Like your album is a timeless classic. And I think this album was the first album to get such a acclaim from that magazine. So, I mean, when you talk about this album, the first thing people point out, especially if you got in the Tribe later on, again, I was born in 92, so I wasn't even around for the first 2 albums, and I wasn't old enough to comprehend even the third one, which came out a year after I was born. It was 93. But if you came in to Tribe, especially for anyone my age, see, I'm a hip-hop enthusiast, and I've been studying hip-hop all my life. I'm not saying that like I'm the biggest knowledgeable guy in hip-hop, but for someone my age, I can impress you. But what I'm saying is for people in my age range, 27, late 20s or something like that, if you got into them like off their recent effort, which was like, you got from me a thank you for your service. If you came in the Tribe on that album or even some of the albums before, you'll be shocked by this one just because this album, and I don't know if anybody ever really says it, it's kind of like a Q-Tip solo album way before Amplified was ever a thing. Because if you listen to this album, it's mainly Q-Tip the whole time, with Phife coming in every now and then on certain songs like Ham and Eggs and Can I Kick It and things of that nature. So, I mean, and then I guess Jerobi was in the few interludes in between songs. But for mainly a lot of this album, it was really Q-Tip. And I think if you ever watched the Beat Drums and Life documentary based off Tribe that was done by Michael Rappaport, Q-Tip basically went into saying that, around this time, Phife wasn't really taking it that serious with the whole group thing. It was a cool thing on the side as a hobby, but he was doing more so his thing with his other friends in the streets. And Tip would try to convince Phife to come to the studio, like, come on, but, he didn't really come around like that. So that's probably why this whole album is mainly basically Q-Tip. And you don't really hear much of Phife until the next album, which we'll do later on. But anyways, as far as this album goes, I'm pretty sure 5 mics, that means it was a very, very different sounding than whatever was out at the time. Even when you talk about the contemporaries within the crew that they were in themselves. Like, this album didn't sound like 3 Feet High and Rising or Straight Out the Jungle. And those albums didn't sound like albums that were out around their time either. So it was a really, really special thing. I just find it funny how this album got 5 mics first before either of those two ever did. Unless they didn't start the 5 mic thing yet. But for this album, man, I mean, there's not really much to say that hasn't been said already. Very innovative. Very experimental with the sounds they were using. Some of it, to me, this sounds like if you mixed House Party with some club and some hip hop of the time. So like boom bap, house, club, Afrocentric stuff, all that. Oh, especially the Afrocentric stuff. This was the album and around the time where they were rocking dashikis like crazy, and people thought they were crazy for that. But you know, they were just doing them, and they were trying to be different and eccentric. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's right. Trying to be different and eccentric at a time where it was called for. Because if you bit back then, that wasn't gonna go over well. So yeah, people made an effort to be creatively different back then. Not saying that they don't do that now, but it's not as diverse as it was back then. But yes, they were doing all that, and you know what? They came out with a classic album. You know, at the end of the day, I even have some of my favorite tracks. Not to say that the tracks that I don't like are trash or anything like that, but what I'm saying is I appreciate and go back to these tracks a lot more than say the average person would. Now, again, this isn't my favorite Tribe album. Is it better than the other Tribe albums? I mean, yeah, I guess. But like I said, my favorite is the Love Movement, but I could recognize other Tribe albums as being better. But let's go over, you know, some of the tracks that I do like from this album that I will play from time to time. Lucky Lucian, which Lucian Revolution, who's an MC out of, damn, I don't want to butcher it. I think it's like Paris, like around where Moni Love was from, like the UK. Essentially. So yeah, Lucky Lucian, I Left My Wallet on El Segundo, classic song right there. Classic video too, by the way, pretty funny, even today when you watch it. Bonita Appa Bum, everybody, even people my age, should have at least heard this song at least once. At least once in their lifetime, even if they didn't want to hear it. Like, they had to have heard it somewhere. Can I Kick It? Another one, classic. Fife is actually on that one. I think that's the first song I named from my favorite tracks that he's actually on. Rhythm, Ham and Eggs. Ham and Eggs is actually a funny ass song because I'm sorry. It's just them talking about how they don't really eat meat and stuff like that because it's bad, and you know they rather eat other things like I think applesauce, candy. It's a funny track if you hear it. And well, actually, it's the last three tracks on the album: Ham and Eggs, Go Ahead in the Rain, and Description of a Fool. Which Go Ahead in the Rain and Description of a Fool sound like club and house party songs. So again, like I'm saying, like this album is really out there. Definitely, it stands on its own within the Tribe catalog. I even go as far as to say, besides. You know what? No, this actually might be, because it's their first album, but it's gonna sound crazy to say it, but I'm gonna probably say it anyway. This album might be their most experimental album out of everything in their discography, because no other Tribe album sounds like this album. See what I'm saying? So that makes it unique in itself. Like, this album really sounds like a party club album, where the rest of the other albums that come after this sound more like, you know, some cool hip hop, head nodding, like, yeah, that shit is hot, like that type. This type of vibe, you could like play it like at a party with family and all that stuff, and everybody could groove to it and everything like that. So, you know what I mean? This is like a family fun album. I mean, there's some subject matters that you probably wouldn't want to play around your grandma. That shit probably might catch. But the sounds and the backdrops of this album are so smooth and so out there that they probably might not even catch what they're saying anyway. So you can enjoy it on that level. So, yeah, man. I mean, this album, People's Instinctive Travels, I guess I might as well do a rating system for these reviews, I guess, right? So let's say 1 out of 5. The source gave this a 5. If I had to go off a professional ranking, then yeah, it's definitely a 5 based off the other stuff that I mentioned prior to me even saying any of the stuff I'm saying now. You know, creativity, different sounding, broke barriers. I mean, there's a lot of people that are influenced off this album. So, I mean, they were influenced more off the other ones that we're going to talk about later, but this album, definitely an influence. But for me, personally, I would probably go out of 5. Man. You know what? 4. I'll say a 4. It could change if I think about it more, but it's because even though it's really different within the discography, it's such a solid effort at being different that it just gets a 4 on that alone. Again, I'm not probably gonna play the whole album all the way through like I would Love Movement, but at the same time, these songs that I do like, that I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tracks, so that's good. And those 9 tracks, at least half of them are legendary in hip hop. I mean, Q-Tip wrote Bonita Applebum at 15 years old, I believe. At 15 he wrote that, so that's legendary on its own. The fact that it became what it was, and it came from a 15-year-old. But anyway, time is running out, so I mean, if you like it, comment. Again, I need to earn your subscription. So, you know, I'm not going to tell you the casual, oh, so click on the subscribe button. If you want to do it, then, you know, thank you guys, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm just trying to work my way up until that point. So, you know, again, yeah, if you haven't listened to it, the album is Tribe Called Quest, People's Instinctive Travels and Paths of Rhythm. Came out 1990, excuse me. And, yeah, man, go check it out. And actually, for anybody that's trying to get into hip-hop, that's an album I would give to you, because it's very open, it's not too rough and rugged where it turn you off, and it's a welcoming introduction for anybody that would want to get into hip-hop. So again, this is CJK1231 signing out, and yeah, listen to it, like it, enjoy it, tell me what you think about it. Until then, next time.